Good evening and welcome to the City of Sharonville Council meeting. If everyone would please stand, we're going to have a moment of silent prayer. Then we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance led to us by Mr. Paul Schmidt. Thank you. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Roll call.
Mr. Tankersley.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Mr. Lippert.
Here.
Mr. Duda.
Here.
Mr. Cook.
Here.
Mrs. Knight.
Here.
Mr. Schmidt. And Ed Cunningham is absent with notice tonight.
Thank you. Are there any additions or corrections to the April 27th regular council meeting minutes? Seeing none, those will stand as written and distributed. Reports and communication, Mayor Hardman, and I see you've already left me.
I've already taken my spot. I'm gonna ask Ms. Hoppy if you would please join me up front, and if Acting Chief Mackey would join me as well. All right. Always fun to do this as we swear in new employees and promotions and all of that fun stuff. And in this case, none of these are new employees. However, we do have a new full-time employee. So Lillian, would you come on up? This is Lillian Hoffman. She has been with our fire department since 2019 in a part-time capacity. We are very, very pleased to be able to have her now with us full-time as a firefighter paramedic since March of this year. And so we're going to swear you in to make it all official. Are you ready? Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Lillian Hoffman, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America, the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio, and the city of Sharonville, and that I will honestly and faithfully discharge the duties of the position of firefighter paramedic to which I have been appointed according to law and to the best of my ability. Congratulations. Glad to have you continuing with us. All right. Go ahead. Don't go far, because when we get all three of you done, we'll get you all up here. All right. So let's bring up who's going to be next. I think that's going to be Tony. Come on down. Tony Smith. Tony has been with us since our second wave of full-time hiring. So he has been with us since 2003. He has always had a leadership personality with our department, and throughout the years has strived to be a leader and has done so very successfully. He has worked his way from being a firefighter paramedic to an acting officer to now his current position as lieutenant with the Sharonville Fire Department. So if you will, I think you have some folks with you tonight, right? Brianna's here. So hi, Brianna. We know that none of this is possible without those folks that stand behind us and make it possible. So raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Tony Smith, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America, the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio, and the city of Sharonville, and that I will honestly and faithfully discharge the duties of the position of lieutenant to which I have been appointed according to law to the best of my ability. Congratulations, Lieutenant. We have somebody, yep. There we go. This is the best part. Stick them really hard, and all the aggression you can take out on them is now's the time. Is everybody going to start running out here in a second? I heard alarms, all of this stuff. So I need to speed it up. All right. Congratulations. Don't go far. We'll get all three of you here in a second. That brings us Chris. Come on down, sir. This would be Chris Ellis. Chris has been with us since June of 2002. He's continued to improve himself by taking multiple classes, dealing with arson fires and the investigations that go into them. He's a renowned arson instructor that has taught not just throughout the United States and in other countries. What other countries have you taught? Australia. All right, that's cool. He has worked hard during his time on the department, rising to the position that he is now in of battalion chief. He's also now in charge of Sonic, our arson canine. I don't see Sonic. Where is Sonic? How come he didn't get to? She does. She's at home relaxing. She doesn't. She deserves a relaxing night off, which has already proved a valuable asset to our department and the surrounding area. And I know you've got your family with you, Chris. I'll introduce you to Kelly, Luke, and Aaron. So glad you guys could be with us. I know this is a big day for your family, as it is for you. So raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Chris Ellis, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America, the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio, and the city of Sharonville, and that I will honestly and faithfully discharge the duties of the position of battalion chief, to which I have been appointed according to law and to the best of my ability. Congratulations, Lieutenant. She's going to come forward and stick you really, really hard. I hope you were nice to her today. It is always awesome to be able to do this. Congratulations to you. And it's always glad to see all of you guys standing back there to support your leadership and what it does. Lillian, Tony, come on back up. Let's get a nice picture of all of us in here. Scooch over this way, Chris.
We're going to get out of the way, you and your wives.
Yeah, we'll let you guys do that.
Without us.
Do that before you leave. We're going to violate some cookies.
I don't think Chris is smiling. I think he's sticking his tongue out at you.
All right, congratulations to all of you. Thank you for all the service you do to the city and for all the leadership that you guys provide. Let's hear it for that. Oh, come on up. Let's grab some pictures here for a minute. That's fine.
Yeah, I have a whole group. I mean, mine is for quality pictures.
Technical difficulties, stand by. Yeah. We call my teenage kids. I see you don't even have to say cheese.
Those little guys are smiling. You can see it in their eyes. They're smiling.
Congratulations, everybody. Get those back there. I'll make sure you have that. Thank you.
I noticed y'all cleaned up a little bit better for breakfast today. I'm just going to comment on that.
You were hoping you wouldn't notice.
I did.
Well, I'm just going to stay here to finish my report because, as Ms. Hoppy alluded to, I am going to sneak out on you so I can get to a 6th grade band concert that starts in about 20 minutes. And I'm so excited to listen to that their very first live concert of the year of these, many of them playing instruments for the very first time. I want to take a minute to just thank all of our great employees of the city of Sharonville. This morning we had our annual appreciation banquet. And so we had the opportunity to thank them and recognize some great folks who have had many, many great years of service to us and for us here in the city of Sharonville. So it was a wonderful event. Thank you to Debbie O'Toole, who celebrated many, many, many years with us as well this morning, but also for putting that all together and always making it a great event. Thanks to all of our friends at the Convention Center and Spectra, and especially to our executive chef over there, Brad, and I'm not even going to try to butcher his last name, but we are sad to hear, if you haven't heard already, that we are losing him to another entity here in the next few weeks. However, Spectra is excited about the opportunity they have with the new chef that is coming in. It kind of worked out very well, and they're very much looking forward to their new chef that will be coming in, and they don't expect that they're going to miss a beat, and will be ready when all of the great work and business continues and comes back to our convention center. You're gonna meet Steve here in just a little bit. I think many of you have probably had the opportunity to meet Steve already, but I know he's going to present some information that Jim has on one of your ordinances tonight. But Steve Boozum has been with us now for a couple of weeks. How many weeks? See, look, he's lost track already because he just loves the job so much. As our new Public Works Director / city engineer, we are very excited about his addition to the city, but he'll come up and hopefully as part of what he's going to share with you a little bit later, we'll tell you a little bit about him and how excited he is to be with all of us here at the city of Sharonville, right?
Absolutely.
There you go. That's much better. All right. So if you have, I'm here for any questions that you might have right now. And then obviously I think Jim can handle anything else. And thank you all very much for giving me the opportunity to go watch my little 6-year-old play his saxophone. So thank you.
Enjoy. Okay, our Safety Service Director, Mr. Lucas.
Thank you. Regarding the legislation this evening, Jim Doughton's here to talk about 2021-31E, which is concerning our Small Business Relief Grant Program.
Good evening, everyone. We are ready to wrap up the Small Business Relief Grant. Part 2 started here in January 2021. We had 35 businesses this year that we were able to approve, which maxed out the amount that we had budgeted. We have two remaining applicants who are approved, but we're about $15,000 short, and this would cover those remaining two and close up the grant application for the program itself. Any questions?
Any questions from anyone? No, thank you so much for
Thank
taking
you.
charge of that.
And just a comment about Jim, he's worked very, very hard on this program, so very much appreciated. Ordinance 2021-32E is concerning an incentive related item. We're working with the National Site Selection Company on Project Stream, and the site selection person has requested that we table this item this evening. They're still working on some loose ends themselves, and that we will likely consider this again on May 25th.
Okay.
So just the request is to table it. And then Ordinance 2021-33E is regarding our OKI application. Steve Boozum's here tonight, as the mayor alluded to. His experience in traffic engineering is already paying dividends, especially as it relates to this project. And he'll explain what we're recommending that we apply to OKI for. Steve Vanover should be on via Zoom to talk about how this could help from a safety perspective. And then Josh, I see, is here just to chime in on a technology perspective as well, but Steve can lead off.
Good evening. The OKI grants grant applications are coming up due June 4th. This year, it's been proposed that we go after a grant to upgrade our traffic signal system and to increase our communication backbone network within the city. The proposed grant is to upgrade 19 traffic signals. These signals currently have traffic controllers in them that are not compatible with the city's central-based traffic software system. So essentially, we have the central-based traffic system. We've got 19 of our intersections that we're paying to have this license for, but they can't use them. The base of this project started out as upgrading those traffic signals. Then we discussed the opportunity of increasing with having these traffic signals on the central-based system, increasing the communication backbone that the city has to those traffic signals and throughout the city. Currently along Kemper Road is a copper wire communication system. And it's been proposed to upgrade that to a fiber optic communication system, upgraded fiber optics. There's currently fiber optics along 42 from Fields Erdel down to, I believe, Kemper. And fiber across Kemper would then allow us to connect the new police station to the communication backbone. And then we've also proposed connecting Station 86 to this backbone. The big deal about the communications fiber upgrade would also be the inclusion in this grant to install up to 10 PTZ, pan tilt zoom cameras, closed circuit television cameras that the police could monitor actively at different intersections of their selection throughout the city. The current network would likely handle those cameras on a here and there basis to view that feed, but not all 10 of them necessarily at the same time. The fiber backbone would allow the bandwidth within the city and throughout the city for them to actively monitor those cameras on a real-time basis on all 10 of them. The fiber backbone is where cities and that broadband, that larger broadband network is where cities are going in the future. Everything in the future going in traffic and in surveillance. And surveillance may not be the best term or right term to use, but is going through the internet. And as we move forward, this grant is likely to be 4 or 5 years out for funding. And as we move forward, everything we have is going to be more technology based and require more and more bandwidth in order to transmit that data. The other thing I believe this would allow, if we connect Station 86, we're currently connected on them through an internet tunnel, I believe, for information transfer. And that's a monthly cost to the city. And connecting Station 86 to the fiber network would allow us to eliminate that tunnel. I believe, Josh, I believe that's correct. But it would allow us to eliminate that monthly cost. And basically give us unlimited bandwidth for information for our purposes. All told, I believe the construction cost came in at $1.16 million. And the design fee is approximately $160,000. The OKI grant, there's a minimum funding split of 80-20. This project is not likely to be funded at an 80-20 split. It would likely have to be more aggressive than that. But if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them from a traffic engineering fiber standpoint. Anything else, I believe Josh can answer. I don't know if there's anything I missed, Josh, that you'd like to add.
No, you summed it up well. Thanks for that, Steve. I'll just highlight a few of the benefits from the technology perspective to kind of reinforce what Steve said. Will be a future investment. It'll also kind of goes along with the Chester Road upgrades that were done a few years back. There was fiber placed along Chester Road, but it wasn't put into any buildings. It did allow for CCTV cameras to be placed along Chester, but right now only CT Consultants actually has access to those cameras. So this project is by putting fiber into the police station and into Station 86 will give access to the police department, to the fire department, access to view those cameras. And it'll also kind of just tie up that project nicely and we'll kind of get a better return from investment on the work that was done on Chester by putting the fiber into Station 86 and by putting it into the police station. It's also going to create the infrastructure for our kind of isolated city government network, which will allow us to just have a more secure network. We'll start by putting the fiber into the buildings. This is going to be kind of the beginning of our own network, which again is just laying the groundwork for the future, essentially. And so, yeah, so that's all I wanted to add. Any questions?
Does anyone have questions? I know Mr. Schmidt, you would ask Chief Vanover to speak tonight. Would you still like to hear from him regarding this issue? Chief Vanover, would you mind just explaining to us what you had said in law committee, please?
Good. Sure, no problem. I see huge benefit in this from the police department or the public safety perspective. This also benefits the fire department too. The ability to monitor the intersections that are controlled by the that will be monitored by these cameras and controlled by the central system are huge for us, so that we can see what's going on. If we're dispatched to an area, we can also avoid problem areas when there are high traffic or traffic jams, those type of things, for emergency response. Being on the central system has huge potential in helping with the traffic flow in those areas, these high traffic areas along the 42 corridor, especially during rush hours, which allows CT consultants to provide some benefit there. Future-wise, by having this technology in place, as technology continues to evolve and the capabilities that it brings online as possibilities for the police department are huge too, in terms of being able to, not part of this grant, but being able to add recording capabilities to the cameras that are going to be installed, so that when we have that traffic crash, that we're not sure who's at fault or who ran the red light or who pulled out in front of somebody, having recording capabilities to go out and see what happened, that's important to us. The ability that when we get that call of something that might have occurred somewhere along that 42 corridor and we're looking for a red Toyota, that we've got video that we may be able to go back and get a better description, a make, a model, and maybe even a license plate. And having this technology infrastructure in place allows us to also in the future look into additional technologies such as license plate reader cameras that are going to be dedicated to simply capture those license plates of every car that passes through that area, so that when we do get that call and we're looking for a red Toyota from a robbery incident or whatever it may be, we're able to capture that license plate and we've got something for us to follow up on. So the future potentials of this make it worthwhile to take a shot at this grant, and it makes complete sense. And Steve and Josh explained a lot of this stuff way better than I am, but I agree with both of them that this is the way to go.
All right, thank you, Chief. We appreciate your time. Did anyone else have questions? Yes, Wilson.
Just the one, Stephen, this did not occur to me when we were in law committee meeting, but approximately how many cameras do we have that are currently installed that we're not able to use because of the system that we have?
Josh, do you have an answer for that? I do not know how many we currently have.
It's Chief Vanover. I think there are 5 cameras installed along Chester Road that are monitoring those intersections, and I believe that's it.
Okay, thank you.
And I should clarify, we're making attempts to get access to those cameras, but they will be, like Steve mentioned, they'll be kind of limited on our bandwidth capabilities because we'll have to share the connection that CT Consultants has to that camera. And it won't be direct over the fiber infrastructure. It's going to go through the internet, which reduces quality and accessibility. So we're trying to get access to those cameras in the meantime until this project is completed.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you for your first rodeo here.
Thank you.
You did pretty good.
That is it for the legislation. We are, however, requesting a voice vote this evening as well. We are asking for a voice vote this evening as well. There's a grant opportunity that just became available. Michael Blomer and Josh are working on this project. Michael's can take the lead on it, and it's kind of evolving. The grant application, there's a question and answer tomorrow with the county about the particulars, and then the grant application itself is due to the county before our next council meeting. So it's really a quick time frame, and so that's why we're asking for the voice vote, more for informational purposes, because there's no local match required, but we always like to, but there is some long-term maintenance costs, but we also always like to get your approval before we submit a grant anyway. So Michael.
Good evening. Yeah, so Hamilton County CDBG is doing the Expanding Free Public Wi-Fi program. Essentially, this is money that they receive from CARES Act funding. There's about $650,000 that the Board of County Commissioners for Hamilton County has allocated to provide to expand free public Wi-Fi to cities in Hamilton County. The minimum funding request is $25,000. There is no match. So we are, I'm working now with IT in this short window to be able to find a good match for the program and for the application. As Jim mentioned, the application's due the 21st. I've got some question and answer stuff tomorrow. I'm also going to be working with the folks from Wyoming who successfully received this grant last year to get some insight on how and what they did. But we should know by June 1st if we are going to be accepting the grant, or I'm sorry, receiving the grant. And then it has to be spent in calendar year 2021. So it has to be spent this year by December 31st. As it stands right now, we're looking at the possibility of expanding the application to include multiple public spaces. We originally had thought Gorman would be a great fit, but since the $25,000 minimum, we're going to really need to add some more space to it to kind of beef up that application to get to that minimum amount of money. So they judge the applications based on completeness, eligibility, residents served, and need for service. So I think there's a lot of need for public Wi-Fi in our different public spaces. All of our parks obviously would be a great fit. I think downtown would be a great fit as well. So Josh and I are working pretty closely to try and get this one wrapped up in short order. So that's why the voice vote is requested this evening. Thanks.
Thank you.
Casey, do you have a question?
Mr. Lippert?
Hey, Mr. Blomer.
Yes,
Sorry.
sir.
Bill on. So when we talked about that potential grant in the Community Services Committee meeting, the thought was at that time that the grant had a specific geographic restriction based on the requirements of the Community Development Block Grant, but it sounds like you've gotten more information since that time that expands the geographic area to include all of Sharonville. Is that accurate?
So priority is given to low to moderate income areas. We only have, we have a couple of areas within the city map as defined by CDBG. Gorman Park exists in one of those areas, which is why we originally had thought to include it. But you are able to include additional areas as well. Just the priority from a scoring standpoint is given to low to moderate.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. Did anyone have questions for Mr. Lucas this evening? Seeing none, I don't really have a report except for to thank everyone again today. It was a fabulous breakfast, and Debbie does do a great job at organizing this, so it was a lot of fun. Clerk of Council, Mrs. Buhite.
Thanks. Just want to mention that a Trex transfer from China Domain Inc. to MJD Inc., which is located at 11955 Lebanon Road, was signed and returned and sent back to the Board of Liquor.
Perfect, thank you.
Sure.
Law Director, Mr. Pietmeyer. Residents this evening that wish to be heard. Do we have any residents? You're good? Okay. Yeah, he got cookies. That's right, because he's my favorite. Council committees, Community Development, Mr. Tankersley.
No report.
Okay. Community Services, Mr. Lippert.
Thank you. We met last Wednesday. The written report is on file with Mrs. Buhite. Public Works was the only department out of the two, Public Works and Recreation, that had a written report, considering that Mr. Blomer just gave a full report to council not a week before the committee meeting. We discussed some other items like the Community Development Block Grant, free Wi-Fi grant, and that's my report. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Budget and Finance, Mr. Cook.
Thank you. No report this evening, but I will announce that the next Budget and Finance meeting will take place on May 25th at 6 p.m. in the Council Caucus Room. And for project oversight, I do not have a report for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Honored citizens, Mrs. Knight.
Tonight, I am honoring all our high school and college graduates from Sharonville. And I'd like to wish them all the best of luck in the future.
Great. Thank you very much. Law and Public Safety, Mr. Schmidt.
Thank you. The next Law and Public Safety Committee meeting will be May 18th at 4 p.m. here in council chambers. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mrs. Buhite, thank you for sending out. Everyone should have gotten a PDF today of all of our liquor permits in the city. And I believe that there will be a discussion in Law Committee regarding this. So I would appreciate you looking it over. If you have questions, please contact Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Wilson, or Mr. Lippert on Law Committee, or you are welcome to come and ask your questions. Okay, thank you. Rule suspension motions, first and only reading for ordinance 2021-21E, 2021-22E, and 2021-23E with immediate effectivity. Is there a motion? So moved by Ms. Yes.
30s.
It should be 31E, no? 31E and 32.
Is there a typo?
We have it as 31, 32, 33 on ours. So
Okay, so.
I'm not sure which one it is.
Okay, it's actually 31. That's okay, we'll fix
What did I
this.
put?
32 and 33. So let me do that again. Rule suspension motion for first and only reading with immediate effectivity for ordinances 2021-31E, 2021-32E, and 2021-33E. And thank you, Mr. Lippert. Okay. Motion by Mr. Lippert. Is there a second? Mr. Wilson is the second. All those in favor, yes?
Yes.
Those opposed, no. And that motion does stand. We'll go to our new business since we have no unfinished business.
All right, let me see if I can get this right. This first and only reading for emergency ordinance 2021-31E, extending the 2021 COVID-19 Small Business Relief Grant Program. That's just a first and only reading.
Is there a motion to pass ordinance 2021-31E? So moved by Mrs. Knight, second by Mr. Duda. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Mr. Tankersley?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Lippert?
Yes.
Mr. Duda?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Knight?
Yes.
And Mr. Schmidt? Emergency ordinance 2021-31E has been approved. 2021-32E has been tabled, correct?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes,
Okay.
it is tabled.
First and only reading of emergency ordinance 2021-33E, authorizing the Safety Service Director to submit a STBG CMAQ application for traffic flow improvements within the city and declaring an emergency.
Easy for you to say.
Right.
Is there a motion to pass ordinance 2021-33E? So moved by Mr. Tankersley, second by Mr. Schmidt. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Mr. Tankersley,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Lippert,
Yes.
Mr. Duda,
Yes.
Mr. Cook,
Yes.
Mrs. Knight,
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt.
Yes.
Emergency ordinance 2021-33E has been approved.
Is there a motion for a voice vote to allow our Recreation Department Chair to apply for a Hamilton County CBDG grant for free Wi-Fi program? So moved by Mr. Lippert, second by Mr. Tankersley. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. And that does carry. Thank you. No residents tonight? You sure? Nope. Okay, any other matters this evening? And is there a motion for adjournment? So moved by Mr. Lippert, second by Mr. Tankersley. All those in favor, yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. And we stand adjourned. Thank you.